You know what it is, family. We back at it. We know that we had a pod last week when we had a nice interview. Unfortunately, some things went goofy with it, so we back again. This is part two, take two. We got blessings in the house, man. My man E Hall's back.
Yes,
We're
yes.
gonna get the solid interview tonight.
Yes,
But
yes.
again, man, this is Mask Uncovered podcast. Hit us up on all platforms. Again, you can see our titles down bottom, so no need to reiterate that. But move it over to my co-host. What's going on, Skizzo Blizzo?
Ain't shit. Your boy Hollywood Skids. Same thing, same platforms. You know what I mean? We've been telling y'all that for a while now, so y'all get it. But we here kicking it with my man E.
Yes, yes. Glad to be
Important man in
here.
the community.
Yes,
you know what
yes.
I'm saying? Sixth member of the New Edition and shit. Y'all seen him and shit. This weekend, last night?
Oh, I hit up
So I
Mr.
hit
Concert,
them high
man.
notes.
The 17th member of the new.
That's crazy. Everybody remember doing
Like
this
you like Bobby now, they got a breath off that bitch. But no, anyway, we're gonna briefly go through his bio and then we're gonna start this interview. You know what I'm saying? Bear with me for a minute. My man E Hall, Eric Hall, founder and creator of the Hall Group Unlimited, a family company with a focus on published literary projects, public speaking, and business consulting. Also, co-author of Diamonds Are Us and a producer of published works, The Diamond Project, a literary, auto, and speaking initiative. Also is founding partner of We Resource Holding, LLC, an independent financial education and coaching firm founded in 2006. Uh, Also, published Wealth Principle Handbook as of 2017. This work continues under HGU,
The whole group.
my man, yep. Labored in the inner city for more than 15 years, helping individuals make the most of themselves by discovering the potential they already possess as a financial and life skills educator, promoting a growth mindset. Also, organizations and agencies serve through the efforts. I mean, it's a host of those. We could be here all day. Youth Build, Department of Labor, Franklin Park Tenants Associations. I mean, we can go on all day with those,
Yes.
man. My man is heavy into helping out his community and trying to help people get the best out of who they are, which is what the book, if you read the book, that tells you the same thing. So,
No doubt.
we're gonna
Yeah,
kick off
give it
this.
up for my man E Hall, man. We're gonna have our sound systems updated in a few years. Y'all bear with us.
Yeah, it should be cool tonight.
But definitely, man, like E, I mean, we're gonna start off from the beginning.
Yep.
You know, your upbringing. What would you say your upbringing was like? If you was to get, that's everything you're doing now. That's a big part of who you are today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What was your teenage years like? Your youth years like? What got you rolling into creating such a legacy for yourself and to something to leave for your family? Like,
No doubt.
what started that?
Man, early on, man, it was, I was talking the other day about how much fun we had as kids and, how much, we did and the things we did, how we created games and fun and how we broke shopping carts and turned them into like racing carts around the way. We had basketball hoops, man, we made out of
Crates on
man.
trees, yeah.
Literally, milk crates was basketball hoops. It's like I thought about we was innovative, man. We had a good time. We had fun.
Shout out
You know,
to
we
GQ.
ran,
We
man.
used to have a crate right there back at
Come
Prescott
on, man.
with GQ.
You already know we had a
Donnie
Dunkin' Dunkin'
Quick.
was by the lamp,
Creative
right?
thinking,
Yeah.
yeah.
And when you think about it, man, like we was really creative since the beginning, man. So as kids, all I can remember was a lot of fun, a lot of outside activity. And then as I got older, teenage years, man, we started to see different things, get introduced to different things, and start to have different understandings and start to see struggle and understand struggle. Because even as a kid, if you struggle, our parents kept it away from us.
Right.
You
know
didn't
what
know
I'm
what the
saying?
struggle-
We didn't know
you
what the
didn't
struggle
know that,
was,
yeah,
man. We just
right.
had fun. We came home. It might have been a short meal, but we had a meal.
Right.
Exactly.
And we had things, man. We had love in the home, man. But we had challenges. And so the teenage years, I started to get introduced to some things that wasn't the best of things. I started to understand what the drug game was like and how that began to play the community and even dibbling dabbling myself. And so getting introduced to those things, it was like, man, it got to be a better way. Got to be a better way to make money or get money. When I looked at a lot of folks around me, if they wasn't struggling, they was in the streets. And so You know, I began to get different messages, some mixed messages. And so I experimented. I just like every other kid around the way, did things I wasn't proud of. And that fuels a lot of what I do today in the community because I understand what a young man trying to find his way is looking for and how he can get lost in just being around certain individuals or being in certain environments. And so now, man, I fight with a certain level of energy to make the community better, to bring resources to the community, because I once participated in a certain ignorance, you know, that plagued the community. And so I don't regret anything that I've been through, anything that I've learned, but it's cultivated the man I am today and the work I do today.
Right.
And I live with a non-judgmental attitude because everything I do now, I didn't always make these decisions. So I try to work with those who may be stuck in some of that. Work with young men coming out of DYS, cats coming home from prison, those stuck on drugs who are still in the streets. And I had to remember that everybody deserves a second chance. So this work, man, is my passion work. And I'm going to do it till the day I die. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And coming from, I say one of the toughest projects in the city, most highly profiled project. You got entertainers coming from there, New Edition, Bobby Brown, OP. Did that help you with some of your dealing, saying, like you said, you dealt with some people coming out of prison and, you know what I mean? Like, did that give an extra toughness, an extra knowledge? Did coming from that type of environment help you with who you are?
No, absolutely, man. I'll be honest, man. I wear Roxbury, man, wherever I go around the world, man. If I'm in another country, another state, I wear Roxbury proudly. I remember on the movie, New Edition, like, yo, we Roxbury kids.
Right.
And growing up in Roxbury, it was a certain mentality, a certain attitude that we had about we can go anywhere and win. We can go anywhere and do whatever we want to do. And so the bad decisions just, you know, you did them and you made decisions, but it gave you a sense of fearlessness that, you know, I carry today. Like, I'll go anywhere in the world and work with our young people. It's funny, I was doing some work in Anacostia, D.C. And Southeast D.C., if anybody know, certain parts of it, the police don't even want to come in. And they were like, yo, you going into Anacostia? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to Anacostia. I made it in Roxbury. I survived in OP. We at one point beef with every neighborhood in the city at one time. And so the mentality of it, whether it was sick, however you want to call it, it gave me the desire to say, you know what, I'll go wherever and work with our community because I'm here to help. I used to do things that hurt. Now I'm here to help. So when I went into Anacostia, they was like, yeah, man got murdered last night. And I'm the next day doing a workshop. I said, man, I commend y'all for being here because that meant you want something, man. You want a way out. So I'm excited about taking this information around the country and doing it wherever I see it, wherever the need is.
So getting involved in community work. Okay, so it's one thing to be from the neighborhood and then to be able to go to other neighborhoods. Why or what made you make that leap? Okay, so I'm a part of this and I'm seeing people coming home from jail, then somebody going back to jail, somebody murdering somebody, somebody being murdered. What made you say, wow, there's something better and I want to make things better? Because you see, it's a different dynamic with that. It's one thing to be strong and to grow from that, from Skiz's point, but look at it from the opposite view of, okay, so now I'm seeing all of this, now I'm a part of this. Why not be hard? Why not take that and run with it? Why not be more demonstrative with that avenue? What made you say, damn, my community's falling. I want to be a community leader?
Absolutely.
That's different.
Well, and you know what it was, man, honestly, man, as I look at it and I look at the things I went through, I realized there were systems in place that were supposed to help the need. Systems in place that work with young people. But when I got in that system, I realized it was recycling our young people and getting them ready for the prison system. I'm like, wow. So it wasn't preparing our young people to come home and be productive. Then the prison system does what it does. The private industrial company, that's just a whole nother animal. But I realized the things in place to help us wasn't really helping us. And so I realized, like, man, everybody's like, I can't wait to do better or get better because then I'm out. But then, like, if we all go once we get better or know better, who's left to make a difference? And then I started to look at history and the things that those who did great things have done. And I realized it's always those regular folks that are grassroots that make the biggest difference. Those who are not scared of the community and are willing to go and work with the folks in places like Anacostia or going to the prison and work with men or going to the DYS and work with the kids. I'm like, man, it's going to take us to make a difference. It's not going to be the government. It's not going to be the churches. It's not going to be some entity that's going to make that difference. It's individuals who give a damn about this community. And I realized, like, wow, I'm not scared of my community, so let me get the information that we need and bring it back. Even at the expense of sometimes the community thinking negative about me because I'm bringing something back that's going to help us. Sometimes people don't always see that. And I remember doing financial literacy workshops, and people were like, I don't want to do those classes because my rent's going to go up. Then I had to then educate and say, but if your rent go up, that meant your income went up. But that fear of losing something that the system gives has always been one of the biggest challenges. Believing in someone that don't believe in himself. So for me, man, becoming a leader, I said there's no other way to do it. Because even when I was in the streets, man, something said to me there gotta be a better way. And then I was that dude that like, if I'm gonna just be raw because this is a raw show. We can talk like this. If somebody came for 10,
yeah, take a sip.
I'm coming to find you skins like skins. Yo, they got a template. You won't get 4, I'll take 6. In the streets, you can't share. So I'm like, I'm the sharing type. I don't belong out here.
You come with that one shot 30.
yo, we was talking about that the other day. They were so ignorant. We did things so ignorant. And we can laugh about this today. We had a pistol with 1 shot. Scott know about it.
Oh, man, hold on.
JD said, don't talk about that.
Who knew about it?
I'm not talking about that.
No, we won't talk about that.
But yeah, you
So
it
JD
was
keep
crazy
us
for
politically
us.
correct,
Yeah,
but
it was crazy
we
for us.
believe it was like who's gonna be saved with 1? Well, we felt like I could get out of here at least.
Right, that's all we
But
thought.
at any rate, we just
We're
young
scared
people doing
somebody.
silly stuff, doing silly things, man. And I realized that is a better way to live, man. And so I'm glad when I see fellas from my generation and my era doing well, doing podcasts, having clothing lines, running businesses. Man, I salute that, man, because it's gonna be us.
Right.
It's gonna be us that make that difference.
Having music careers.
And,
Absolutely.
and who you become now, I think I seen that before because I don't know why, but I seen education was important to you. Maybe school, but
Absolutely.
more than school, like education outside of school, because school can only teach you certain things.
So
but
much, right.
you were hungry for more. That's why you went on to real estate and also trying to share with our youth, and not just youth, like this people 50, 60 years old still don't have financial literacy and don't know how to manage money. And that was always important to you then. Why at a young age was education so important to you?
Yo, it's crazy, man, because I saw that although we made bad decisions, there was some folks who they made bad decisions because they had to. Maybe their mom was on
Totally
drugs,
agree.
their father was
Totally
on
agree.
drugs,
Right.
and they sold drugs because their little brother didn't eat.
Right.
Right.
They
They didn't have a meal on the table, you
Right.
know, and they was like, yo, I got to make a way, man. My little brother's hungry. My sisters, it was a moral dilemma. And all of us got friends that was in that position. I was blessed to have my grandparents. And so my grandfather was the type, if he wasn't dying, you had to go to school. If he wasn't bleeding from the nose or the mouth, you got to get up and go to school. And so school was important, education was important. And I'm really glad that he pushed that envelope for us because I realized like the blessing of knowing how to read when I had friends that couldn't, they struggled.
Right.
Couldn't fill out a basic application, but I could. And so that really helped me. So I said, okay. By the time I was a senior, I said, I might as well go ahead and finish. I said, if I'm going to hustle, it's going to be after school. So I hit the block after class. Some cats out there in the morning, noon, night. They don't do the graveyard overnight or after class.
The gravy.
So I still went and got that money.
Right. That, yeah.
I just thought
Gravy,
instruction,
baby.
and that helped me, man, because I had an option. I knew how to read. I knew how to go and get a job. I knew how to do certain things. And my wife was just saying yesterday when I was in 12th grade, me and my partner E, who I won't mention, that's my guy, we had imported products from Italy. I had a smokeless ashtray at 17 because I was so curious. I said, what's importing and exporting? Because I heard the words and I learned how to import stuff out of the country. I'm like, if I had resources in a way, I could have been a millionaire since back then.
Right.
But, I was torn between learning about different things and still struggling with what the community offered. And so, again, man, education was that thing that this is going to be the difference maker. I didn't know that it would really, really help me catapult. So I started learning about real estate, not having enough to go to college. So I took the free courses. Everything I learned, I brought it back to the hood and taught cats.
Right.
Dudes coming home, I taught them about real estate. A lot of people I know that are into real estate, I introduced them years ago because I was just doing it because I learned it. And so I'm like, man, if we learn how to do this, it's no different from A drug is a product that you take, you bring back to the block. You can sell guns, you can sell sneakers, you can sell real estate.
Right.
So early on, I realized a hustle's a hustle.
Now,
And I just elevated that. You know what I'm
I
saying? I just elevated it.
I seen you do it.
one thing I could say, growing up, definitely community leaders are important, were important to me in my life. Just to name a few, Willie James, like on Lenny Jackson, Jeff Vino,
Sherm,
Sherm.
I remember Paul.
Well, yeah,
So
yeah.
definitely, and I'm pretty sure in
Vino.
every inner city, there are guys or females, there are people that were doing or part of the community, right? So with that being said, I look at it where community work is not a money venue. It's not somewhere where you go to make millions. Pretty much the work that you put in, you're putting money aside and you're being fulfilled. It's a heart job. So
Absolutely.
that's a difficult decision to make. That, okay, especially if you go to school, especially if you think that education is important, if you think that learning the trade is important, because first and foremost, you want to feed your family, you want to feed yourself. So the different avenues where you look at, okay, I want to be a community leader, you're that fulfilled through your heart over finances, or were you like, okay, as long as I have my finances set up somewhere else, like real estate, other corporations, stuff like that, then that allow me to do the community work? Or is it a combination of both? The one overpower the other for you?
It's just a combination of both. And what I learned, though, I learned that if you're passionate about it, that's really where your gold mine is, whether that's community work or food. It's where your passion lie, where your heart lie.
Right.
And once I learned that people will pay me based on my value, that's when I really got hungry with education. Because education allowed me to increase my value, which in turn increased my cash flow. Once your value go up, you become valuable to different individuals. And then I got to a point where I can get contracts with agencies that was laying people off. And I'm like, it didn't make sense to me. You laid somebody off, but you just gave me a $30,000 contract because I was going to come in and impact the entire staff. That person just fulfilled one role. So I was even more valuable than some staff to companies. Because I was now coming in to impact the whole company as a facilitator, trainer. And so doing this work in the community and doing the educational things and better helping people get better and discover their greatness, I realized that that was still a way to wealth. Why? Because not only will I be able to do that, but I can also still have other streams of income, like income property coming in, investing in stocks. Once I understand how the money game works, I realized that I can just get right with the money game, but I can pour into my community the better I built the money game. But then on top of that, even pouring into my community was very valuable as far as income, because people will be willing to pay me as a coach, as a mentor, and things of that nature. People will pay for consulting. People will pay me to come train their staff. So it opened up a level of value. Then when I became published, that increased my value a little more. So one of the things I do is show people, let me show you how to increase your value. That's where your money comes from. It don't come from, a high paying job, because the job will always pay you what they deem you worth. But I realized if you increase your value, learn another language, get a new skill, get a new degree, get another degree, get a certification, and your value go up, your money go up.
And that goes into my next question right on key. With what you do, I've read the book, The Diamond Project, which you trying to instill what you're trying to do in people now. With the enslaved mindset that our people have, how difficult is it to get the best out of people? You know what I mean? Like, that's what your book really teaches. Like,
Absolutely.
you don't have to reach out. It's in you. You know what I mean? You don't have to go follow this dude, this $1 million idea. Like, enhance what's in yourself is what you're
Absolutely.
teaching. And
Absolutely.
maybe, it'll be much easier. So, like I said, with the mindset that our people have now, is it very difficult to get them to follow your lead, or?
Man, that's a loaded question, but that's a great question, man. I was just talking to somebody about
like that 3-8.
like it was only one shot.
Yeah.
Look, Jay's like,
you
no.
you got one shot to get it
One
all.
shot. You better run if you don't hit no. Who's the thinking, man?
Yeah.
You're thinking is, but anyway.
R.I.P. Mizzy. Marcellus' birthday was a couple days
It was a
ago.
couple days ago. We can laugh about it, man, because we did some silly stuff, man. And but anyway, so what I'm gonna say this, man. You know, they talk about having a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, and a lot of times, man, people believe what they believe. People are conditioned to believe certain things. And one of the things with the Diamond Prize reader says the subtitle was "Find and Develop Your Hidden Treasures," is because there are things in you that you're naturally gifted at. You know how they always say you got the gift of gab.
Right.
Well, I turned the gift of gab into income. My daughter's like, Daddy, you can sure talk. You like your last Christmas presents? Well, my talking helped get that. Like, and I'm able to show my kids that my ability to speak and getting better at speaking is a gift that God blessed me with. And you don't give it to everyone. Some of us are good with children. And so trying to get people to see, what are you naturally good at? Let's start there first. Because people will say, I want to do this to make money. I want to do that to make money. And they chase money without figuring out what they really want to do or figuring out who they are. Who you are, you may be that person that you're a great coach and you do well with developing teams or developing strategies, and that may be your lane, but you're trying to do this that somebody said you should do. And so what happens is we have to really unlearn and relearn some things as a people and as a community. And I think one of the biggest challenges I see us faced with, because a lot of people are beginning to be woke about different things and understand that we need more unity in our community. I think we bought into this narrative that we can't work together, we can't support one another, and that we're our position is to be at the lower level forever. No,
Right.
it's not our position. And so wealth building is for us. I remember years ago, me and my wife bought a timeshare, and someone said to me out of their mouth, "Oh, that's for white people." And I'm like, "A timeshare? It's a vacation property. It's somewhere you can go.
Enslaved
You pay
mindset.
enslaved mindset." And so, again, you know, we do fight that, and you know, a lot of people are trying to do better with that. And I think we got to just learn that you can make multiple streams of income. You can earn money in ways that are not the traditional work for someone, but you can have your money work for you. So a lot of what I do is deal with conditioning and how we've been conditioned. Now, I always tell the story of, I told my last class on Monday, you know, a woman, you know, the ham story where the woman was cutting off both ends of the ham and the husband said, "Baby, why are you cutting off the ham?" She said, "Oh, because my mother did it." He went to the mother and said, "Oh man, why are you cutting off both ends of the ham? Because my wife is doing it." Come to find out, they went to the mother's mother, the grandmother now, asked her. She said, "Because my pan was too small." So the grandmother had a reason for cutting off the ends of the ham, but the mother and the wife had no reason. And that's how we live our lives. So I encourage anybody,
Willie
man,
Lynch there.
the Willie
Goes all
Lynch
the way
there.
back to that. Yeah.
So
People
anyone
say-
listening, man, please break that mindset and learn some new things. Learn something else. Don't think you're boxed into a job you can't stand. You can learn something else. You can switch up and take on a different career. But look at what you enjoy doing. When I first heard that, I thought it was crazy. Find what you love to do so much that you would do it for free. That's where your real money's at.
Yep.
That's a gem right there too. But also sparking that plug in other individuals is ironic that we're here because with my old podcast, This Should Stop
Should Stop here,
podcast with Boston Crash. Shout out to you guys. We actually interviewed a nice interview with a family member of his. I believe it was his cousin Robert Griffin Jr. And come to find out as we're interviewing him, and he actually has a book out.
Absolutely.
Y'all need to go check that out too. It was a great interview. This Should Stop podcast, but and I'm sitting there and he's one of your mentees. That's what's so crazy is that he's talking to me about you. He's like, you know, it's this guy I recall. He, you know, he's my mentor and he showed me and taught me so much with it. And he has a phenomenal book out. So when you see stuff like that, I know it's fulfilling, but like, is it like a proud dad moment? Like, I'm pretty sure if you're sparking this and this is something that, you know, I do with coaching or whatever, but this is about you. But just the fulfillment, like sometimes you take a bunch of kids just for a basketball season and you see how they grow, whether you win or lose a championship or whether you make it there or not, but you see how they grow together as a team. You're still proud at the end of the season if they listen and learn and captured what you were trying to show them and teach them. So I'm pretty sure there's numerous of stories because I've seen you posted like, you know, people having their own, what's the cooking thing?
Oh,
that you
they
do?
cook
The culinary stuff.
stuff.
I've seen people writing books. So for you, not the label or pat yourself on the back for, okay, I helped this many people, but just that feeling, is that so fulfilling that you feel so good at the end of the day that you feel like you're serving your purpose?
I know, absolutely. It's totally because I feel like I'm living in my purpose. Sometimes I'll be like, I can't pay back what I've done wrong in the community, but I can definitely give until I fall off, until I go to sleep. I can give back. I can benefit the community. And what I love about doing it is all I do is help people discover what they already got. That's why the title of the book is The Diamond Project. If you know how diamonds are made and where diamonds come from, everyone is a diamond project if you really think about it. Every person got potential. They just choose whether it's through tragedies, whether it's through the way they grew up.
So I'm a diamond in the rough?
In the rough. No, you more like a diamond already.
Hey, you a bluff diamond.
So we all got diamonds, man. We all are diamonds. And it's crazy because I don't know if you guys know. If you go back, I don't know, when you look at the beginning of the book, I talk about, a gentleman who sold his land to go look for diamonds. And if you know the story, like, he sold his land, somebody came to the new owner's house, saw a pebble, a rock on the mantle, and said, "What is that?" The gentleman said, "It's a rock. I found it in my creek." The gentleman said, "No, that's a diamond." So the man that sold the house didn't know that his creek in the back was full of diamonds.
And he went to go looking for them.
He went to go look for, sold the crib with the diamonds on it. And that's what we do with our life. If I get a better man, I'll be all right. If I go to a better church, I'll be all right. I'm going to move to Philly. I'm going to move to Atlanta, I'll be all right. I told someone today, someone I'm mentoring, I said, figure out what you want to do first. Then decide where you want to live. Don't go because someone there says there's opportunity here for you. Because once you know your lane, you can take that wherever. Right. Too many of us look outside of ourselves for the gift when we have it. If we use our own instinct, my instinct kept me alive. I remember one of my partners back in the day, y'all know him, my man Peanut passed away. Ooh. That was one of the biggest losses. I'm going back, that was one of the biggest losses. That day we was on the court playing ball, me and my partners, just kids in the neighborhood. And they were like, "Yo, we going to the game." And I was going to be sitting on the truck right where Peanut was sitting. And that game happened at White Stadium. When that happened and he lost his life, it hit the hood hard, it hit everybody hard. But some of my instinct was like, man, we got too much beef. I ain't riding on the back of no truck. I felt in my spirit not to get on the back. It was Big Bundy. I was like, I can't go, man. I said, they're going to have a ball. But I was like, man, something in my gut. I tell people, trust your money. You already know. But everybody's going.
Everybody going, They fuck that. I make these shit smaller.
JD's like, keep it correct.
JD's
like, JD's the one that's talking like you an angel, like, I didn't do nothing. JD's like, I didn't do nothing.
Nah, man, listen. I feel right there.
Let's get the face on him. Hold on.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you.
They was watching, like, you go to the store and they watching him. Like, they watching you in the store, but it's the person on this.
No, it's crazy, right? It's like, we could always dig into our past, right? Mm-hmm. And I just want this to feel different. I want people that's watching this that are 13 to 18 to feel different. Obviously, we have our peers, and they know what our life was like. They know we could always express that. That's part of it. That's part of us. So I don't mind speaking on some of those things. I don't want to dominate that as the conversation, because coming from that, that's why I always want to touch on it. Okay, listen, I'm from the inner city. Like, I was a part of this. That's good. But I don't think we have enough time for people to understand that we're not glorifying it, because once we start talking about it, somebody might see that clip and they might think that we're glorifying it. So unless we have enough time, because I've sat down and mentored and talked to so many kids too, or so many people, even my peers in college and so forth, where I'm like, okay, this is where I was at, this is what I did. But this is what, it's a long conversation. So with this being a nice interview, and what you're doing, it's good to touch base and say, okay, we already know people coming from jail, people going to jail, stuff like that, touching on it. But let's show people that, like, how it's stronger. Like, we don't have a lot of pieces of conversation where people are directly saying, there's a diamond in you. You can do better. I know what it's like to want to feed your younger brothers and sisters, and how what it takes to make that happen. Those stories out there, they're dominating the news lines. So now we're in a position, so we can always touch back and play with it. And I love it. And I don't hide my past too. Yeah. And I don't hide my past. Like, I am what I am.
Interview, you hearing all positive. You just hearing us clown because we know each other. So we're not.
Well, we gotta remember too. We come from a lot of pain, you guys. So someone that's in pain right now, need a way out of that pain.
Exactly. That's
So
all.
we can laugh about things that hurt us, man.
That's all we're doing.
We've cried our funeral, we've done,
Yeah.
and so now we
Man.
got this place, man. That's why we don't want no drama around us. We want to live stress free.
Fact.
I want peace of
I'm
mind.
whoever you think I am. I don't want no problems. Nigga. Yeah,
I ain't got no beef with
Just
nobody.
a clown-ass nigga, yo.
Let's have fun and live life, man. And
All I
I,
want to do is sit back and have my drink, man. Leave me the fuck alone, man.
and I believe, because think about it. Somebody's gonna judge us for using a certain language. So people
No matter
gonna
what.
judge us.
No matter what. We're gonna be
Get it
judged.
right.
We're gonna be judged soon as they see the,
Soon as they
soon as they see our
Get
faces.
it
we're gonna get judged.
3 young black men on camera. We're gonna be judged.
Absolutely. So I do, and I
Them
agree.
talking this and them talking that, and yeah, come on.
And somebody that take one clip and run with it, it's like, okay, they're
Yeah.
like, I can't believe they had a drink on camera. I can't
Right,
believe.
right.
Salute
What
to
it
Yeah,
you.
is. Y'all
you
know
can't
we
please
all
any and
can't.
everybody, man. But
You can,
you
but I
judge
do
so
understand.
much.
We want to
Yeah.
let people know, man, there's a brighter side. And I think for them to see that we can still have joy after all the pain, somebody's like, okay, so there is hope for me. I don't got to take my life.
And you've been, yeah.
I don't got to take my life. I don't got to take another person's life. I can go and I can really get it. There's a solution to this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I kind of call this and what and shout out to Rob too with that song Flowers, man, a beautiful
Oh, yeah.
song, man. Like
And I didn't know
Yeah.
when talking about Rob Griffin. I'll come back to that.
No,
Oh no, not Robert Griffin.
A-Rod.
Yeah,
A-Rod,
yeah,
the
yeah,
Flowers,
yeah,
the
yeah, the
Flowers.
Flowers, that
That-
song. And the reason why I just brought that up is because what I feel right now is us giving an opportunity, but also to give you your flowers right here on camera. Because I think back, like being 13, 14, 15, and being in the inner city and not having a lot to go to run to. You have so much negative stuff, but to say it, Jeff Bynum, or Lenny Jackson, the Sherm, Willie James, stuff like that, to give those people. I wish that, yeah, Chris Bynum, like, so obviously they've had a shot. They've been on the news cameras at some event and stuff like that. They've probably been given some sort of flowers, but it'd have been nice to see that promoted so much more. If I was in a position at 13, the love that I felt, the 14, 15, to show that
They
love.
saved a lot of us, man.
So with that being said, being so young and not having that opportunity, you can't keep saying, damn, I wish I had it. Now I'm in a position to do it. So now let's reach out. Now here's an opportunity. So I just want to say again on camera, man, I love what you're doing.
Thank you, man.
It's a blessing to have people like you and inner city lives and our youth lives and our lives. You know what I mean? You're a big part of that.
And go get the book, The Diamond Project. I suggest you get this book, man. Read it. I'm pretty sure you can call him if you have any questions.
My information
Numbers,
there,
he's on the internet, he's everywhere. So give him a shot. He's trying to help. So, you know what I'm saying? Try to help yourself.
So to sign off, what would you say? What would you want, like, for the people, like, to see, like, what you
What's
expect
next?
to get? Yeah.
So what's next? I'm working on some different things, man. You know, one of the things I will say is we're trying to really come together and bring together organizations and different black-owned businesses, man, to do some things. Partnership I'm really excited about. My company is the Hall Group. I'm excited about NSF, which is Nubian Square Foundation. We also have the Nubian Square Economic Development Corp. We're trying to really make it where we get ownership back to the community. A lot of developments happening in Boston, a lot of properties going up, but the folks that's been here forever don't own it. And so we're trying to get to the point where we can begin coming together in a crowdfunding source and collectively start putting up to own some of these properties that's being developed, you know, and to own some of what's going up in our community. So looking at how to find unity within our community and support one another, support each other's endeavors, and saying, you know what, because somebody said we can't work together, and I believe that's a bold-faced lie. If I'm at the table with these gentlemen and my goal is to see all of us win, I'm not trying to hustle them, they're not trying to hustle me. Why can't we work together? We did dumb stuff together.
Right.
Why
Right.
can't we
Right.
get money and change
I
our
agree with
community?
that.
And
wholeheartedly.
They tell us we
they
can't.
tell
Right,
us we can't
right.
buy into it. So
And we
be
think we
careful,
can.
and we think we can.
Right.
So
Mindset.
let's start
They
thinking
can't.
collectively, man. Let's think collectively and think, how can I do things and partner with a group of like-minded individuals? Then you got these pockets of like-minded individuals, then we come together. Now they say we need to raise $500,000. We got 500 of us, everybody put up 1,000, now we got $500,000. It can be done, you guys. And anybody that's out there that you're trying to make a difference, keep doing it. Sometimes with stress, he looks like he ain't got the time.
I ain't got it. I ain't
He
got it.
crazy, man. I'm telling you guys, man, there's more we can do unified. There's no one solution because there's a lot of things we got to unlearn. We need to dig in and learn our history a little bit better so we know where we come from. Know that we wasn't always slaves, man, that we owned. And that we can do some major things, man. You know, it's not that you're not a deficit.
Kings and queens.
You're not a deficit. You're actually an asset. I had a young man say, why do the world hate us so much? I'm like, it's not that the world hate us. It's because they want you to feel like a liability because you're really an asset. Everybody wins from our gifts, our talent, our ideas, and they've been doing this since the beginning of this country.
Facts.
I might get flagged for saying that, but you're an asset, people. If you look like us, you're an asset. And because you're an asset, everybody got it out for you.
And this is part one of this interview. I know, we got to cut it short now, but this is just part one, man. Tell them where they can reach you, because you're on the social media a lot. But I don't think people are tuning in to the information you're giving free.
No doubt, no doubt. You know, and what I would say is I've been guilty of not really telling people what I do. So I'll post like my classes. I'll show what I'm doing, and I'll give some gems. So I'm on Instagram. You know, my handle's right here. I'm also on Facebook, Eric D. Hall. But you'll know me as soon as you put it in. I'm also on LinkedIn. So what I want to do is begin giving you more digital content so that you can. I know me and my partner will done do NSF and do other media. We're gonna be working on some different content stuff. So I want to give a shout out to Dunn and Wawa and the team and the stuff we're doing. And just know that, you know, I'm there giving content and information, but I want to collaborate and partner. A lot of my students are now partners of mine. I've invested in students. I put money into students because I want to see you win. And what we're trying to create with NSF is our own bank. You need $500,000 to run your business. Your kids come get this no interest loan from us. Or maybe it's a partnership. But we become our own bank, they can't exploit us. Become our own landlord, they can't exploit us. So you can find me online. I'll be doing a podcast soon. I'm gonna be getting their insight on how to do it effectively.
Can I hold $50 now?
Come on, man. Let's talk after me.
Oh, shit. What I need? License?
$750 credit, man. Your whole organization.
$750?
You trying to get one of the things.
Y'all take those old Russell Simmons black credit. Y'all still take the Russian.
I
thought you was helping the hood. Blue card. Oh, yeah, I got purple, blue.
The blue card with the E and the B on it.
All right, y'all. Listen, man. We know, my man has a lot of knowledge and base on this stuff, man. It's just a blessing. I always speak to him. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. Always, man. I understand that we're always gonna have different interviewees. Definitely gonna always have different pods, but go to the YouTube page, Mask Uncovered Podcast. Subscribe to the channel. Comment on the videos. We want to hear what you guys think, what you guys feel.
I do have a YouTube as well, Eric D. Hall Speaks. I've never pushed it, but I got to stop.
Here it is. Push that.
You speak too much. What we need, like, why would you keep it?
Some of the content over, I'm going to start uploading content, man. Y'all inspired me too.
Might as well.
Yeah,
and you're always welcome back here.
This is part one.
Absolutely.
Thank y'all for coming out, man. Appreciate
Thank y'all
it,
for being
man.
with us, man.
Love you, bro.
Love y'all both, man. Peace.